Crit and Miss Out of the Abyss is a Dungeons & Dragons actual play livestream and is recommended for mature audiences. It may contain coarse language, adult humour, descriptions of graphic violence, horror themes, supernatural themes, Aussie slang, and more fun stuff. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. This is Crit and Miss, and you are watching Out of the Abyss. You might be wondering what Hollywood's highest paid actor and heavyweight wrestling champion is doing DMing on a Twitch channel. Well, I've got one word for you. Charity. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Fine.
I've got one
smell
word
something
for
cooking.
you. Lawsuit.
Yeah, I have to know, Mr. The Rock Johnson,
Yes.
what your thinking was in filming Black Adam. That just seems like a superfluous movie to exist. But anywho.
Could be
Yeah.
better as a hero.
I'm also wondering why you pulled a Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You look quite different.
I have a mover role coming up, and it's quite a bit of a drastic transformation. And as for why I shot the movie Black Adam, well, that's kind of the reason why I'm here, to try and repair my public image, so to speak, by doing some charity.
What's the
work
new
for a
movie,
small
White
Twitch
Frank?
screen. How you going, guys?
I would just like to state for the record, Mr. Johnson, that I have nothing to do with this. Please don't stop.
And I would like to state for the record, Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, if you want to be a celebrity DM on my channel,
Please
send
do.
me a message. I'd love to have you on board.
Yes, we'd love that.
Next week we'll have Mr. Johnson playing the role of the Deep Father.
Oh, yes.
That's got nothing to do with D&D.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
I
look,
think people are going to think this is the wrong kind of stream, guys, so we probably need it.
That's fine.
We're here to play D&D.
it's not the first time I've given people the wrong impression. Had a few complaints about that, but that's why I play Dungeons & Dragons on the internet these days, so people can't litigate.
It was that.
Now, let's do a little bit of banter. Of course, tonight is going to be the first properly recorded episode of Out of the Abyss. But that doesn't mean that we can't sit down and have a little bit of a chat. So, for tonight's subject for banter, I want to know about what is your best or worst holiday that you've been on. Let's go across the board and let's start with Grace. Best or worst holiday you've been on?
Me?
Yeah. No, the other Grace.
Well, oh yeah. Sorry, girl. Do you want to talk first? No, she's busy. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
I've been to Canada. That was probably the best holiday. I'd say being stuck in LAX was not a highlight though. Would not recommend LAX. If you have a way to get around it, trust me, don't go anywhere near it. We were stuck there for 5 hours and then they lost our bags. So we had no clothes for 5 days in Canada in the freezing cold.
Oh.
Yeah. It pretty sucked. It was like the worst ever. But I mean, I got to get Old Navy pajamas. That was pretty fun. But Canada itself was just amazing. It's so snowy. It was minus 35, which is just Grace peak loving it condition. I was vibing. It was the best. It was so cold. Every day was a magical snowfall. It was fantastic. Would recommend. Would not recommend going through LAX.
Are the Canadians
But
as friendly as their reputation would
They
suggest?
are.
Oh.
They are, and they loved us. We spoke one word to them, and they were like, "Oh my god, you guys are so nice. We love you." The amount of free drinks we got was actually kind of crazy.
Now you have my
Yeah.
attention.
I think we better go to Canada.
Yeah. I mean, Whistler was a little bit different because Whistler is like one of the biggest Australian populations in Canada. They actually call it Wistralia. Because it's literally all just Australian working visas, and everyone works at like a ski lodge, and they get put up, and all their food and stuff is taken care of, and then they work there and sort of ski while they're there. So Whistler was a little bit different, but Vancouver, people would like take photos of us. It was very similar experience to like China, where people would like come up and take photos of me and my little sister because I had like blonde hair, because I had blonde hair and green eyes at the time, and she has blonde hair and blue eyes, and they were all just coming up and taking photos of us. Very similar experience, except the photos were consensual this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty lit.
Give us your best Canadian accent.
Oh, but I gave you my good Canadian accent the other night when I was mocking Fall Girl vibes.
Yeah, but did we record that? I can't remember if we recorded it. I wanna
Yeah,
hear
it was
again.
live.
Was it?
Oh, you want to hear it again?
Yes.
Okay, I suppose I could, pumpkin spice latte.
And you guys were worried
Chaco
about me
maca.
doing the Dwayne the Rock Johnson joke and that being controversial.
look,
Yeah, warm
look,
fuzzy
it-
scarves and pumpkin spice lattes.
See, like hanging shit on an entire country is okay. It's when you impersonate a celebrity we start to open ourselves up to litigation.
Exactly.
I thought Canadians were more like, hey, buddy.
Yeah, they've got a weird tang on the end. It's like maple syrup, eh?
People say,
You
right?
want to go bobsledding, eh?
I'm not your
You-
buddy,
That's so
guy.
nice, eh?
You know, we really shouldn't be giving the Canadians too much shit about A, considering
Oh, no. Yeah, we do it
Queensland,
too.
we end everything with A. How's it
That's
going?
sick,
mate?
eh?
What?
That's that.
What are you talking about? What?
Time, yeah, right, eh?
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
nah,
Down to the
not
top,
yet.
eh?
Moving
Yeah,
on.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
moving on.
Froth. Best or worst holiday?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one. I'll do the best one quickly. Went to Singapore and Malaysia. That was pretty cool. But worst one was, it's not really a holiday, but I went and stayed with my grandparents when I was heaps younger. When I was a wee little lad, I was probably about 4 or something like that. My grandfather had this great idea that we'd go for a mad bike ride around for the day. He lived out at a place near Bundanon. I don't know if anyone knows where that is, but it's Southern Highlands way. And anyway, so we were having a grand old day, and he packed like a little barbecue and stuff in his backpack to bring with us and have a barbecue, like, so we'd stop and have like a picnic kind of thing. And we got stuck on this kind of like a road that was fenced either side, and there was like nowhere to really stop. The only place he could find was a cemetery. So we ended up actually having a mini barbecue and picnic in a cemetery, because that was the only place we could find that had some open ground. That was one of the weirdest things that I've probably ever done. So there you go. Fond memories.
That whole story had just this element of mounting tension the entire time, and it's it really had a payoff.
And
Picnic.
it was a real climax there, yeah.
And as well, like, how old were you?
Oh, I was about 4.
4 years old? Yeah,
Yeah.
cemeteries are a different place when you're 4 years old.
Yeah, I didn't get it, didn't know what was going on, but the teachers were impressed when I got back to school and told them about it.
Speaking of cemeteries, I was a security guard in on the Sunshine Coast, and one of my locations that I had to go to was actually the cemetery in outside of Mullaney. So I'd 1 o'clock in the morning, I had to go into the cemetery and do a lap of the building. I'm not like, I don't believe in the supernatural and all that kind of stuff. But it's just a fun story to do. It does give you a little bit of an odd feeling, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the
They're
morning. when
creepy
you're there on your own.
places.
I had something really weird happen to me when I was working as a security guard. I had someone. I saw someone pulled over on the side of the road, and they had their Refidex out. If you're old enough to know what a Refidex is, on their bonnet, and they were like flipping through it. And I pulled over, and I'm like, "Is everything okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, we got a call from our a daughter or something like that, and she's stuck on this road, and her car's broken down, and she's got like her young baby with her." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, what's the name of this road? And they're like, oh, it's such and such. So I got out my Refidex as well. And
For those who don't know what a Refidex is, it's what we use to find our way around before Google Maps.
think of it like a phone book, but with streets in it. Yeah. So it has like a grid-based system, and you would flip through the front pages where it has a list of all the street names and all that kind of stuff, and it would tell you page 235 A16. So you'd flip to that page,
And
go
you can't find that map.
16, and you'd find the road.
Why don't you just buy a map?
This is what like so
That is the map.
Picture going to Brisbane,
I'm so confused.
right?
This seems
Picture going to
counterintuitive.
it's a book full of maps is the thing. Is that each page in the map section is a part of the city. Because you couldn't fit
That would be such a big book. That would
yes,
be like
they were about
They're
this
very
thick and nearly A4 size, and that's what you use to navigate around cities before Google Maps.
Yeah. So you'd have that sitting in your lap, and you'd be flipping through the pages as you go
or
and trying not to crash your car and kill someone.
You'd have driver and navigator if you weren't from the city. Like the way my folks used to do it, it's one to drive and one to have the Refidex out, and they'd be finding our way to where we had to go because you couldn't just GPS that shit. It didn't exist.
Back on
I
track.
feel like you get lost.
Yes.
So they told me they could see a street sign, and they told me what the name of the street was. So I flipped to that page, and on one page I could see where the road started, and then it was like connects to page 237. So I flipped it over, and it just ended. There was nothing there. So I had like a full hour and a half where I had nothing to do. I spent a full hour and a half driving around that whole region trying to find this road, and I couldn't find it. I still don't know what happened to those people. So, yeah. Good times. Who is next? Mr. Mark Hillman, best and/or worst holiday?
All right, so I have two that were both like the best kind of things to do, and had some freaking moments. One was when I was a kid. My folks and I went driving around like South Australia, around the Barossa Valley. We went to like Mount Gambier and Victor Harbour and places like that. Checked out some cool caves, but we stopped off at this one place in the middle of nowhere, which is this little bed and breakfast, and it just had super fucking creepy vibes. Hey, like we didn't end up staying there. We like drove off into the next town. It was just like that was super creepy, but otherwise it was gorgeous. Like got to see all the down in New South Wales, the what they call Patterson's Curse, the purple flowers that get through all the there's another name for it as well. It's like gorgeous. Like it's like all the fields are overrun with this stuff, but it makes the land useless, like because it can't be eaten by the cows or anything. So like it's like some cool caves, lakes and stuff like that. That was groovy.
Was it like Deliverance creepy? Was it like a kid sitting there playing a banjo and they were like, we don't get city folk around here?
I vaguely remember like a nice old lady that ran the place, but like we got there and there wasn't a bed for me, so they were going to bring something in, but then I think my stepdad was kind of wigged out by something as well, and I was picking up on that kind of vibe, and I just started being like, I'm don't want to stay here. So we back up in the car and drove to the next place and found a motel. But then the other one was basically from my mid to late 20s until just before I turned 30. I spent a lot of time traveling around, playing tunes, hitchhiking, or just driving to or flying to festivals, and went down to Melbourne for a bit and spent some time there, and briefly through Sydney. Hate that place. It's fucking
how many times did people try and murder you when you were hitchhiking? Say
none.
70% of the time?
No, absolutely zero.
No.
Felt safe as fuck. Met some lovely people. One thing I did learn, and this is the really good part, is that the generosity of just regular day-to-day people, especially when they hear that you're doing something a little bit out of the ordinary, like hitchhiking around the country to try and play music, is fucking astounding. They're like, wow, well, like, come stay with us here. Here's some food. Like, like end up staying with people for like a week at a time sometimes. And they wouldn't want you to leave when you were leaving.
And not like, here's some lotion on a bucket. You put it on your skin.
No.
We like big, boy.
Even like, so the other really cool thing was when I was like 25, I left Townsville with a band that I was in on foot, and we started walking north to go to a music festival. We did end up hitching part of the way, but we walked quite a bit. and we ended up staying in all sorts of weird places. You know, like there's this one spot up in the Tablelands, and it was what was a farm for a time, but it wasn't really anymore. It was all overgrown. The guys that were looking after that owned the place couldn't really look after it that well. But it was an old church, and it was just like, yeah, weird vibes out there. Like the people were lovely. It was just like the land had something strange going on out there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Tablelands. There's always something strange going on at the
Yeah.
Tablelands. Moving on. Last person, Alicia. Best or worst holiday? Do you even get a holiday being a student?
No, I had a lot of holidays before I was university student, but not since. My favorite holiday was probably right after I graduated high school. We went to the UK, and this was right after I'd finished my leading role in a Shakespeare production.
Oh, nice.
And we went to Stratford-upon-Avon, which is where Shakespeare was born, and I got to see a bunch of live performers just walking in the streets, reciting Shakespeare, and I met this really cool guy who was reciting my character's lines, and so we had this really cool back and forth thing.
Do you buy into Shakespeare conspiracies?
A little bit. Why?
I don't know. Just interested. I heard a little bit about this on a podcast that I was listening to the other day. Someone in the podcast had the fortune of doing a Shakespearean play with Patrick Stewart. And they started talking about some of those Shakespearean conspiracy theories about how they believe that Shakespeare wasn't the one who wrote it and all this kind of stuff. So I was just wondering,
Yeah.
is that something that you
I've heard that.
believe, or I don't know? What do you reckon? You're more knowledgeable in Shakespeare than I am, so yeah, no.
It's something I could buy.
Yeah, there's a whole article here about it, and I don't know, I just thought, yeah, that's it. Christopher Marlowe, I think, is one of the people who they believe was the actual author.
I could believe it.
You could believe it.
With enough evidence, sure.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of reasons why they think that. Honestly, doesn't really matter. Just enjoy the show, which is a vibe that I like to adopt here at Crit and Miss. Doesn't matter who wrote it. Just enjoy the show. Enjoy the ride. That's what really matters. Isn't that right, Froth?
Sure is, mate.
Sure is.
Love going for a ride.
So, speaking of rides, let's dive into a little bit of Dungeons and Dragonies, shall we?
Yes.
For those people who did not catch last week's catch-up episode that we live streamed, we'll do a quick recap of the situation as we find ourselves in at the moment. Where did Alicia go? Oh, there she is. Thank you. So,
Sorry.
the characters were approached by this Kuotoa who identified himself as Plupalpine, and she's gone. Alright, we'll wait for her to return, I suppose. No, we'll just keep going. Why not?
We're just recording, aren't we?
Yeah, we're recording. We can just edit it.
You can hang a minute. That's okay.
Here she comes.
Pause for editing. And let's go. So, the heroes found themselves captive of some Kuotoa. And they were approached by this sort of upstanding member of the Kuotoan society, the archpriest Plupalpine, who gave them a task. Help him deal with his daughter. There's a fracking bug in here. Go away!
I'm not editing that out.
Help him deal with his daughter. His daughter's name, of course, was Bluplapod, who had begun a heretical religion devoted to the Deep Father, Limagugun. They agreed to help him deal with her, and he explained to them what the plan was, and that plan was to offer them as sacrifices in order to get close to his daughter, spring a trap, kill her, save the day, and he would allow them to travel on the Dark Lake. Things didn't turn out quite the way that they had in mind, of course, because when the ritual began and the melee broke out, things got a little bit chaotic. And lo and behold, rising from the waters of the Dark Lake came a 30-foot tall, two-headed, ape-like monstrosity with arms that ended in whip-like tentacles. And chaos ensued. Kuatoa fleeing all over the place, some of them grabbing boats and sailing off, some of them trying to swim away, while others threw themselves on the ground, arms outstretched in supplication to this Limagugun, who we eventually came to find was a Demogorgon. Yes, perfect. A demon lord of the abyss. They decided that discretion was the better part of valor, chose to flee, got themselves a boat, managed to escape, and they found themselves floating upon the Dark Lake itself. Now, there we go. As you can see, on this boat, you have Dranbalas, the Dragonboard Wizard, Thrash the Troublesome, a Tabaxi Barbarian with a troubled past, Jimjar, the Svif Niblin, Deep Gnome Gambler, for lack of a better term, Bark, the canine companion to the party's druid, who is Patch, the Firbolg druid / cleric, Lady Thera. Is that right? Verena. Sorry.
Yeah, Verena.
Too soon. Lady Verena. Well, it's not my fault you guys named all your characters so goddamn close. Lady Verena.
I have this thought.
The Drow Artificer, who was recognized as being the Drow Priestess, who is in charge of the Drow outpost of Valkenvelve with this story, this adventure began. And one more companion has joined this intrepid crew, and that is...
Plane.
I was going to say Gadget, actually. Do you want to describe what Gadget looks like while I bring in Plane? Oh, I pressed the wrong button.
Well, to be
Gadget-
fair, he is asleep downstairs.
True. Gadget
Wait, did we
is.
miss Randalis?
No, he's there.
No,
I covered
is
it.
there?
He's at the top.
Okay, sweet. Awesome. I just was glad. I just thought we missed him. And I was like, aw, the cat gets a spot before the dragon? That's not fair.
I mean, yeah, you're on there.
There it is.
Gadget is a medium-sized construct in the form of a lynx. They're very cute.
Not a
Pretty.
real cat. But anyway.
There
To
he
be
is.
fair,
I'm
he's
a
a
real-
thrash.
And of course, Pluplapine himself, Archpriest of the Sea Mother, and now, what, captive of the party?
No, he was going to be our guide on the
I
Dark
would
Lake, and he was
say-
freaking out. We brought him back. He was starting to like freak out, and you know, we sort of have encouraged him to rest until he's feeling better.
Exactly. I'd call him unwilling participant or unwitting friend, perhaps.
I'm pretty sure that's what the Drow Priestess called you as well, an unwilling participant.
No, she didn't. She just called us captives.
Let's go this scene over here, because this is the situation that we found ourselves in. So,
You were going to need control of the extra tokens that we're supposed to have control of, such as Bark and Jimjar.
yep, let me just adjust that a little bit. So I'll just take control over Jimjar and Pluplapine, but I will give you control over
Bark, and
Bark.
we need Gadget on the board as well. We've got no Gadget.
Yep. So let me deal with Bark, and then we'll get to Gadget as well.
Also, Grace, you should have temp HP from Patch doing the last little.
Yeah, I
break,
think
but
I had
not-
about 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have.
I jumped the gun and I long rested
long rest.
myself.
So basically, because you're a barbarian, it's really simple, right? You just don't get your rages back. We were all on pretty good HP anyway.
Yeah.
So just
Which
tick
makes
off.
me sad.
And
Sad
do you
enough to rage.
your tabaxi ability, is that a so many times per
It's a
day?
turn-based thing.
Okay, cool.
So like
Yeah.
I can use it as many times as I wish,
But
but
you
I
gotta
have to
move
be
0 next
stationary
turn,
for at
right?
least one turn.
Yeah, cool.
Which
Yeah,
which
cool.
is kind of a little bit broken in my head because it would be like I dash all the way up, attack, and use that one turn to attack, and then
Yeah.
I'd have my ability back, and I could literally run away again if I really so wanted to.
I think
Like-
it would. Honestly, it should maybe, if you do that and get into range, it should impose disadvantage on your next round of attacks, make you have to go reckless to get a flat roll or something.
Don't ask for extra homework. I'm happy with the way it is.
I'm just saying, you know, you called out the fact you thought it was imbalanced.
It is a little, but I'm not complaining about it. I'm just stating
So
that it could perhaps.
Here's what we have to sort of take into account. You've already given yourself a long rest, right? You've done that.
Not yet.
Not
no,
yet?
I undid it. I undid it.
Oh, you undid it. Okay, great. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine then. Let me paint a mind picture for you with my brain paint. You can see just a simple skiff, simple wooden skiff. It's not made of tree wood, of course. It's made from
The mushroom wood, wouldn't it?
yeah, it's zirkwood is what it's called. It's like this slightly off-colored sort of wood.
I wonder what a guitar made out of that would sound like.
It would I've got nothing. But you see this this single small rustic zirkwood boat, and we see it sort of from the side as it drifts lazily across this serene, placid lake in total darkness. The only thing that we can actually hear is the sound of the water being disturbed by the boat's bow as it cuts through the lake. We see a single figure, a small, 3.5 foot tall, dark-skinned gnome, bald, large ears. He's sort of standing at the back of the boat with his hand on the tiller as it goes along. Now, I did say we were about an hour out from Sloobladop at this point, so to get this game started, I'm actually going to need another Constitution saving throw, DC 13, from Patch, Bark, Thrash, and Jimjar. Now, if we remember, Thrash, you're suffering, I think, 1 point.
1 point.
Patch is fine.
Oh, this is not gonna go well.
Jimjar has 1 point. Bark has 2
Oh
points.
yes,
Bark has 2.
that is
I thought he only had
21.
No, it's 2. That's 2 at the moment. So I will roll for...
Well, he didn't get any more, so that's good. Oh, it's
Jimjar.
it's -2, isn't it? So yeah, Bark suffers another point of exhaustion.
Jimjar fails.
Oh, poor babe.
So let's write this down. Jimjar has 2 points.
Yep.
Exhaustion. 2 points. Bark has how many? 3?
3 now because he failed that one.
3. Thrash has 1 still.
Yeah.
And Patch still doesn't have any, right?
Yeah, Patch is still going strong.
Right. That's the situation that we find ourselves in the beginning of today's adventure. Now, we're going to do this in 4-hour sort of increments. So, the first 4 hours, what do you guys want to do?
Well, Patch and Bark as well, obviously, would very much like to begin taking a long rest because Patch is, as much as he's not exhausted, he's very much running out of things he can do to be useful. He needs to refresh his
I'm alright with that.
refresh his energy and stuff.
would you have explained that to Thrash, or
Oh yes.
she's very selfish? Okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense. No, yeah, I reckon you go first. That's not a problem.
All right, so
I doubt
let's
she
role
would
play
be
this
very
out.
trusting anyway.
Thrash and Patch find themselves on the top deck along with Jimjar. Jimjar's sort of on the tiller, and you can see that he's there, but you can see him you can see his eyes fluttering, and he's sort of like shaking his head every now and then.
Sleep 2.
Yawning. Oh.
I think we all need sleep, guys.
Yeah, I'd say so, but I haven't slept in 3 days now.
Hey,
That's
you probably need it more. I know Bark's exhausted. I saw him before. You can barely move, the poor little guy.
I think, don't you do that whole magic-y thing? You know, the hua,
Not until
chua.
I've had another 6 to 8 hours
Okay,
sleep. I'm all
well,
tapped out.
your sleep is probably more important than mine.
I mean,
I don't
maybe.
sleep well anyway, so.
What if we get the others to keep watch? See if one of them
Ah,
can
that's a
drive.
funny joke. That's a funny joke. You want to put the murderous bitch on watch? That's hilarious. That's a really funny joke. No.
Jimjar sort
I'll
of
be on
listening to
watch.
this conversation, and he kind of pipes up now for the first time in a little while, and he's like, "Look, I don't know about you guys, but it's been one hell of a day, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to keep this up. If we can't learn to work together, I just don't know how long we're going to be able to survive for. I know, and I was there. I saw what happened between you and that thing, but look, something's wrong. I've been thinking about it. Now, I don't know how she ended up in Slubladop, but I've been thinking, right? I know a little bit about
Right.
drow culture, all Svefneblin. We all learn about drow. They're sort of like, they're like the boogeyman down here. I don't know if you know this, but it was the drow that wiped out Blingdenstone.
Oh.
It was their fault that we had to repopulate the city. Now, what I know is, it's not much, but what I know is that they're always vying for a position of power, always looking to stick a dagger in each other's back to get a better position. Now, what I've been thinking is, what if, right? And he sort of looks from side to side and motions for you guys to come a little bit closer. He's like, get this. We know there were some issues in Valkenvelve, so what I've been thinking is, what if she got in trouble for letting us escape? Right?
Oh.
And if that's the case, then everything that she's been saying about having reinforcements waiting for us at the shore, it's just been a bluff. What if she, in order to escape a dagger in her back, what if she escaped just like us? And if that's true, then she's in no better position than we are. Now, I don't know how much I can trust a drow in the best of days, but if that's true, then she might be just as desperate as we are.
That's
Leverage.
a good point.
We could use that as leverage.
He yawns again.
Well, gosh, I think we all just need to get some sleep. Maybe
Okay,
we can
gameplay.
use that as thoughts that probably she won't stab us in the back right now because she needs us too.
Okay, so
And rest and make our plans tomorrow.
here's the game plan, right? We are gonna form a little squad. Like, this is what had happened in the Mercenary Guild, right? If we had like a rebellion or like a coup, we'd form a team, okay? And we'd have our own little squad, our own little inquisition, and then we'd weed out, usually by decapitation, the coup, right? So what we have here is Team Alpha. We are Team Alpha Cobra, and we are in me and you, you Jim Jar and Patch and Bark. We are Team Alpha Cobra, okay? And we're a very tight knit, close group within the larger group who is committed to the decapitation of Scary Bitch Lady, or the getting rid of Scary Bitch Lady. Okay? So I had to establish the team.
Trash,
Yep,
trash,
I'm on it. It's happening. It's happening. It's all
trash,
happening up here. But
trash.
I agree.
No.
We have Nap. We've got a little thing going on. Right? You guys go have a sleep. We'll bring up the dragon guy. I like him. I think he's kind of funky.
I
He seems
so
like a
wish I
legit
had a
dude.
spell slot right now.
We're gonna bring him
just
up.
out of character. If I had a spell slot left, Patch would just be like, sleep.
We're gonna bring up the dragon dude, and I'm gonna be on the tiller and he's gonna be on watch, and you guys can go nap. How's that sound?
We've got one other problem before we can even start to think about dealing with this drow issue, and that is I have no idea where I am or where we're going. I know we're going to Cracklestug, that much is clear, but I've never travelled on the Dark Lake before. So
Can
what
Right,
do
we
you
have a friend who knows. We have old
Can you?
Pluple, what's his face?
He's also resting right now and isn't really that with it.
Wake him up.
Oh no, we need to let him wake up on his own at this point, I think, or he's going to be useless. I think. Jimjar, do you think it's possible to sort of just like keep going in this direction, like quickly enough to avoid being like a stationary target, but not so fast that we get too far and lost while we rest and wait for Pluplepleen to be okay to give us directions? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I can do my best.
I mean, it
That's all
doesn't
I
have
can
to be
say.
you. It doesn't have to be you, like navigating. You can get some rest too. I'm just
There is
wondering.
one more option.
Hmm.
I could curb my bloodlust for a few hours. We bring up crazy drow lady, I work the tiller, and I just sit there in silence, biting my tongue.
With who on watch?
The crazy drow lady navigating, but I guess she can be on watch as well.
Look,
Hmm.
all I'm trying
Not
to
that
say
she's
is,
very good at it.
and hear me out here, she's as desperate as we are. If I'm right, she's in as desperate a position as we are. She's as invested as getting as far away from Valkenvelve as we are. And I know the drow, and what I know about the drow is, if they find out that she's abandoned her post, they will never, ever stop hunting her. I know what she did to you. We all heard the screams from the cells, Thrash. We all
We
saw
don't talk about that.
what happened.
We don't talk about it. X-nay on the screen bang.
Fine,
Okay,
we don't need to talk about it, but the situation that we find ourselves in is, at least for the time being, she's a resource that can be used, right?
I have an idea. Thrash,
Hmm?
I don't want you to take this the wrong way. I think you're awesome, but you're acting a little bit cuckoo. I think you need sleep far more than I do. How about you get some rest, Jimjar, you get some rest. We'll get Drow Lady to mind the tiller. I'll take the watch. And Thrash, this is for you in particular. If she doesn't do anything while you're sleeping, I'll make sure of it. But if she doesn't, maybe that can be taken as a step towards her earning some level of trust.
I'll be fine to be on the I don't want to be sleeping while she's awake. I'll be on the
But
tiller with
I'll
her
be
awake.
awake. I'll be awake.
I
to
think
keep
you
an eye
should
on
go
her.
sleep. It's more important that you go to sleep. You've got magic shit to fix. I promise. Scout's honor, not that I ever was one, but I guess assassins, I swear on the thousands of people I have murdered,
How
I will
about
not
you?
kill her.
How about
I
you
promise.
swear on your mother's necklace?
Oh, that's a bit of a hard one.
I'll
Sure.
make sure we get it back for you at some
Sure.
point. If you
That
promise to give
sounds
her
fair.
a chance.
I
Okay.
promise I will not murk her while she sleeps. I promise.
Or while you guys are on watch together.
Look,
Fuck. I promise. I won't do
okay.
anything.
as long as one of us is watching her, I think that this is. I think she's in as bad a situation as we are, and just between the three of us, I think that at least for the time being, this is a situation that we can exploit. So, just for mechanical purposes, who is going to take a rest now? All right, so.
Well, I think I'm not doing too badly, so I can take a watch.
So Thrash, you're staying up,
Yeah.
and Jim Jar's gonna have a rest. If we cut from that scene down to the hold below,
Can we hear all of this?
are you trying to
Because
listen
there's like
to
the
the
little
conversation?
holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
If you're actively trying to listen, I'll give you a perception check.
Keeping in mind, Jim Jar did call us closer to talk quietly when
Yeah,
we did
he was
start doing that.
whispering.
So, I'll tell you what.
It's
Thrash,
fine.
Never mind, she rolled a 7.
Alright, she rolled a seven.
Yeah.
You can hear the sound of muffled voices coming from above,
Excuse me.
but you can't quite make out what they're saying. But what I will say is that you heard the sound of muffled voices, you heard the sound of footsteps, and then the voices got quieter in a more conspiratorial tone. That's it. But you can't hear, you can't make out what's actually being said. Now, in the back of the boat, there's a pair of hammocks. In one of the hammocks, you could see there's like a large bulge, and it's just like gently swinging back and forth with the motion of the boat. And we look into that hammock, we could see the form of Plupalpine, and he's lying in the hammock facing towards the wall of the boat, and we can hear like a scratching sound. And then we pan around the other direction, and we can see a much smaller shapeless form in the hammock opposite that one, and we can hear like this gentle snoring as Bark sleeps in the hammock snoring. And then we keep panning around, and we can see Dranbalis. What is Dranbalis doing at the moment?
Dranbalis is leaning up against the. I'm assuming the back of the boat would have a bit of an incline, so like running a bit like that up towards the rear of the ship on the stern.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he'd be kind of like leaning back on it, kind of like a lounge, and you see him with his book in front of you, and he's kind of reading, but he's not actually holding the book. It's kind of just floating there in front of him, and you can see a almost like this transparent kind of iridescent type of quill. Looks like it's just made out of energy, and it's just writing, doing its own thing, and scribing stuff out. Well, he sort of leans back and then sits up straight for a second and starts smelling, and he looks over and goes, Patch. Oof. And then
Patch is upstairs. That was
nope,
Bark.
sorry, Bark. And then he is magically controls his quill to turn into like a fanning the air away from him, and just sort of looks around and now that I'm distracted anyway, Lady Verena, what do you make of all of this?
What? Like them or the situation we're currently in?
Well, what do you think? All of it, I'd say. Isn't that obvious?
I mean, I think we're the sensible ones.
Right. Yes, would be the case. Of course we are. Look, I was thinking of it's going to be our turn to help out soon, but I can't see a thing out there.
Right.
Have you got any little gadgets or gizmos for that kind of thing?
Look, if we're potentially able to arrange opposing watches, I have an immediate fix to this issue. If we are to be scheduled at the same time, then I fear I must leave you in the dark.
Well, if we must help each other and have each other's back, as they say, for now, then that would be appreciated. I'm sure we could come to an arrangement.
Yes, I'm sure they're whispering about something that has to do with, I guess, the rest of the night.
I'd say much as we're having a discussion now as well. Fairly normal, I would say.
Let's hope so.
So do you know where this place is at all that they're trying to get to?
I do once we're on land. On the sea, I have no clue.
That seems to be a problem. Don't you have one of those wayfinding gizmo gadget things that tells you where a certain direction is?
I mean, not particularly. I can make maps,
Hmm.
but I can't really navigate on the sea.
Right. Well, looks like we're well and goodly screwed then, doesn't it? Something different?
Yes, it does. I'm not too sure I'm of much help out here.
Well, at least we're on theme. Seems to be standard.
Yes.
Did you happen to smell that before?
Unfortunately, yes.
Right.
I keep trying to block it out of my mind. See, this is why I prefer mechanical animals. They're very neat.
They certainly do have that advantage, but they're not as warm when you try to hug them. That much I certainly know.
And as you're talking, you can see Gadget sort of push itself up, and you can see its mechanical ears sort of perk up.
Yes, Gadget, we're talking about you again.
And as that happens, you hear footsteps coming down the stairs. Dun, 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 dun. And Jim Jar, and I'm assuming Patch come walking down the stairs, and Jim Jar's up the front, and he's like, "Oh, what the bloody hell was that smell?"
Bark.
Oh
Buddy.
my god.
That's lingering worse than it normally does. Ooh.
What are you feeding this Greater?
Well, just what we normally feed him, but I don't know what he eats when I'm not looking, and we've been down here for a while now.
I'd say by the smell of that, he got hold of some of that offering to the Deep Father.
Oh,
Does have a hint of squid to it.
That's nasty. That is. Can we get him to, I don't know, sleep up on deck from now on? Oh, speaking of which, sorry, I haven't introduced myself yet. And he sort of, with a bit of a swagger, walks over towards you, Dranbalas, as you're sitting there, and he looks at that little floating quill, and he's like trying to get around it, with his hand, and he's like, my name's Jim
moment.
Jar. Oh, there we go. All right, that's better. Jim Jar.
While this is going on, Patch is just going to do a little produce flame cantrip and hold it in his hand and sort of like walk around the room with it and burn the smell out.
The whole ship explodes. Boom! Everybody, roll a dexterity saving throw. Take 10d20 fire damage. No, that happens. Like you're clearing out a truck stop restroom.
I got a 16 on my deck save. I jump in the water.
Well met, Jim Jar. Dranbalas is the name.
Dranbas, right? And you're a dragon. You're a dragonborn, right? That's what they call you.
Yes, I thought that was pretty obvious. With
I mean,
such.
We don't see many dragonborn down here. Sorry, mate. It's been a long day. I'm sure you can understand. Hey, he leans in towards you. He's like, "What's a dragonborn doing down in the Underdark?"
Well, that's a good question, isn't it?
Certainly is.
What's a gym jar doing down in the Underdark?
That's a good question. Well, you see, I'm a native of the Underdark. I used to live in Blingdenstone, but I don't know. I guess they kind of got sick of me. They said I had a bit of a problem, and they kicked me out. And that's where I find myself now.
Hey, you didn't tell me that part before when you suggested going there.
Oh, well, I mean, look, that's a hurdle we can cross when we get there, right? But you know what?
Hmm.
I'll bet you one. What have I got here? And he opens up his bag and he starts ruffling through things. And he's like, you can hear just random shit. And he pulls out like a nail and he's like, I'll bet you this nail that they won't let us in.
Okay. I'll bet you a berry against your nail.
You're on, mate. And he walks over to you,
All right.
spits in his hand and holds his hand out to you.
And Patch will spit in his hand and shake his. He knows how to make a deal.
All right,
around
Grand
him.
Ballas, you saw that. You be our witness. But on that note,
Disgusting. I think I'll just take some fresh air on the upper deck if you don't mind.
oh no, feel free. And Jim Jar sort of stops and like side eye looks at Lady Verena and then just looks back again. He's like, well, I think I'm going to hit the hay, the proverbial hay, as they like to say. And he makes his way over towards the back of the boat, and he goes over towards the hammock where Bark is in. It's like trying to see if he can crawl up in there with Bark, and they're both pretty small, so he actually climbs into the hammock with Bark. So
Bark's pretty friendly. He'll probably nuzzle into him and help keep him a bit warmer.
So that's what happens there, and he sort of leaves you with that situation.
Yeah,
Patch.
that's fine. Patch will walk over to Lady Verena, and he's 7 foot odd tall, but he carries himself like kind of hunched over a little bit in such a way that he's not trying to he doesn't use his size to be imposing. He's very gentle.
Well, you
generally.
have to be hunched over in the.
Yeah. He comes
Patch.
over and he's like,
Patch, sorry to
hello?
interrupt. If you're down there, then who's tilling the boat?
Thrash is on it at the moment. She
Oh.
said she'd stay up and mind the tiller if someone else could take watch.
Never mind.
Get some sleep though.
Thank you.
That's what I was coming to talk to you about. We had a good talk, and Thrash has promised to not, start anything. Just we need to work together to get out of this situation. So if you could do me a favor and just not antagonize her, that would be really great, and maybe we can all get out of this alive.
I can promise you I will say nothing. At least I won't initiate a conversation with her.
She said basically the same thing, so.
Oh,
if you guys-
perfect. It'll be peaceful.
Excellent. Okay, well, I'm gonna get some sleep now. Do you mind if I take this hammock, please?
You can go for it.
Thank you.
I'll, I guess, come wake you and Dranblas up once we have finished.
Sounds good. Or if anything happens, I'll still be able to help some, so don't leave me sleeping if there's trouble.
Of course.
Okay.
All
And
right.
Patch will, climb into the hammock and.
All right. So we're going to position everyone where they are. So Patch, you're in there, they're in there, Blooperpeen's in there, and you guys are on deck. Thrash, after a moment, you see Dranballas come up on deck, and followed by Lady Verena and Gadget as well. This will be the
Patch is
last.
sleeping.
Yeah, this will be the last thing that we sort of do before we push ahead. So if there's anything that you want to role play, feel free to do so.
As they sort of start walking up, Dash will see Drambalas walk out and she'll be like, "Hey, I thought you'd bring that." And then she'll see Verena walk out and she's like, "Ah, I was so excited."
Oh, sorry to disappoint you. I get
Yeah,
that a
that
lot.
was really disappointing. No, you're fine. It's the You know what? I've been told to behave, so I'm not going to say anything. And she'll go back to tilling.
Drumbalus would walk up to the edge of the boat where the rail is and sort of prop an elbow up on it and lean out and look out to whatever he can't see, and he'll look over
Yeah,
at Thrash.
Don't fall over. I'm not
Uh-huh.
getting
Okay.
back in there.
Sure.
I'm not getting back in there and fixing that again, because that was a nightmare. I hate getting wet. Yeah.
Well, at least you've had your bath for the day. Can you
I
see
don't
that out there?
usually- Oh yeah, no, I can see quite a bit out there. There's like some river, then
Yes,
there's some
that's what I was
fish.
talking about. The river. It's quite interesting.
There's some stalactites and stalagmites. There's moss on the stalactites and stuff. Can you see that?
Oh yes, I
There's
can. I was just saying it's
any-
quite scenic, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, but very. I'm surprised you didn't. You know what? I'm not gonna go into that. But yeah. Please, no one fall over the side of the boat. As I said, I'm not going for another swim. It's not
So,
happening.
One thing I will say, above deck, Drone Ballas, is total darkness. There's no light
Yes.
source up here at all. So you're
So-
basically, you can't see your hand in front of your eyes.
Drumbalus knows that, and he's just totally faking it out because he doesn't want to appear like he's weak or can't see or anything. And then he looks over at Lady Verena and goes, "Yes, quite scenic, isn't it? There's stalagmites and stalactites and a river."
Oh,
And he's pointing at nothing.
yes.
Yeah.
I'll lend you my eyes when we switch over.
Oh, no need. It's okay. I think I have
I-
some glasses in my rucksack.
Drone
somewhere.
Ballas, roll me a dexterity saving throw. DC.
I know Patch is
no.
asleep, but just Ali, quick question:
Yes.
why do you need them if you're a drow?
They're for aesthetic purposes.
I love it.
You're fine. As you're walking around on deck, you feel the rope catch around your ankle, but you pull your ankle free, and you're certain that you just narrowly avoided tripping.
Mm.
Whoa. Can you not see anything? You walked straight into the fucking road.
Oh, I'm just so tall, and I was enjoying the scenery. I wasn't looking down. I'm not used to ship life, and however, I'm quite tired. I'll just take a seat on this box here, and yes, I'll just sit here and keep everybody company. If you need help with anything, let me know. I'll be right there.
As Dranbalos takes a seat, Verena's gonna pull out a little coin. She's gonna pull out her tools and do a little tinkering before passing it to him, and it glows in a 5-foot radius of light, so that he has a little light,
Ooh.
little
Yeah.
night light.
Oh, you found my coin. Thank you. I was looking for that. Marvelous.
It's
Can
quite
I-
bright.
Can I roll a perception check to see if, like,
Insight.
after that whole thing, insight, to see if I can see if he sees anything?
Oh, no,
Yeah, sure thing. You are making a perception check, so
Well-
you will be doing it with disadvantage.
Well, can I go insight instead?
that would be to see through his lies.
Yes, I suppose. Yeah, all right. No, I'll allow an insight check. Yep.
Okay.
Do keep in mind your -1 for exhaustiones.
Oh. She
So-
doesn't know what she's fucking talking about. I got
four.
a force.
You buy it.
I don't know what he's on about. Yep. No,
You're
fair
like
enough.
Dragonborn. Sure, dragons can see in the dark. Surely a Dragonborn can too.
Yeah, no
Of
problem.
course, dragons
Um,
can see in the dark.
Yeah, but as you guys sort of step, you guys will notice that Thrash's eyes are glowing, like a cat, like bright yellow. Just thought I'd mention that my eyes do glow in the dark.
And Verena,
For roleplay
Yes.
purposes.
you can see something interesting as you come up on deck, because it's been a little while now since you guys got out of the water, but Thrash is still, like, her fur is still like soaking wet, and Thrash, you feel cold, very, very cold and warm at the same time.
That's
I feel
concerning.
cold, don't I? Oh god. Okay. Well, performance check. I don't want anyone to know I'm feeling anything.
I'll make that a deception check.
I'd like to
Deception?
insight that.
Yeah, deception. And you can't see it, Dranvalis, being completely in the dark, but
I have a coin now.
Oh, so you can
I
see
got
it.
it.
Oh, you got the coin, right? So you can.
He's
see
got
it.
five
I got a
foot.
17.
All right.
Got
Within 5
17.
feet, you can see.
17. Verena, you may roll a perception check or an insight check, rather, opposed to that if you want to, but it's entirely up to you.
Sure.
Are you paying that much attention to Thrash?
I'd say she is.
17. We're equal.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
equal.
All right.
Meet it, beat it.
Yeah, meet it, beat it. That's
Yeah,
right.
okay, so Verena, she's doing a damn good job of it, but you can see that she's shivering slightly. She's doing a damn good job of hiding it, but you can see that she's shivering as she's sort of holding on to the tiller. And we are going to move on. What I'll get from you guys is a survival check from Thrash with you don't have a proficiency with water vehicles, do you? You have
No.
land vehicles.
I have proficiency with land vehicles, but not water vehicles.
So
Pirate.
attach some
Kinda
wheels
like
to it and
for a
drive it around the
vehicle.
Underdark, and you'll be right. So give us a give us that survival check, but don't add your proficiency to it.
We do have an artificer.
Oh, yes. Okay, that is a 18 today, my dude.
Pretty good.
-1.
And while this is happening, what is
Yeah, 18.
what's Verena and Dranvalis doing on top deck?
So Dranbalas is just sitting down on that box there, and he's just flipping that coin in his hand, looking at it, admiring it. And he looks over at Verena and just a little nod to a bit of an inconspicuous kind of thank you.
All right.
The coin.
I'll tell you what. Dranbalas, sitting by the sort of on the edge of the boat with that coin, you can see down into the water, and you can see like small shapes in the water. They seem to be gathering, maybe where you are. And the boat continues on for quite some time, and you can see these shapes sort of are following you.
Mm.
They're always sort of swarming around.
Drumbalas instantly grabs the coin and tucks it away in his pocket, and says to Lady Verena, "Quick, come here. I saw some shapes gathering in the water. I think they may be attracted to the light. Can you see them with your drow vision? Is that what you call it?"
Sure. And Verena's going to kind of scoot on top of the box and kind of poke her head over the boat to look down into the water.
All right. Give me a perception check at disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. Perception, disadvantage.
And Dranbalis, you want to do that thing where you go, "Oh, don't fall in."
Tricked you. No, I won't do that.
Because if you roll a natural one, you'll accidentally push her in.
Yeah, that's.
I've had it in my head since she said she climbed up there that it's like all of a sudden Thrash just like rushes forward. It's just like, bye.
I feel like that would be that scene from Princess Bride with the screaming eels.
I haven't seen that.
With a 7. Okay, that's not much. You can see in black and white, but you can see the same thing that Dranbala saw. You can see these small shapes, and they start to sort of peel off. Like they were concentrating here, and then they start to disperse.
She's going to sit back up and hold out her hand and say, honey, you know how I've just given that to you? I'll make you another one. Can I borrow this one?
Sure, but wait, I have an idea.
Yes.
Do we have any food on board?
I mean, there's a... No, we won't use her yet.
No,
no.
not her. The creatures in the
Well, I
water.
was gonna offer you my rations, but I guess if we're acting like that, then no, we don't have any food on board.
I have an idea. I have an idea. It might get us some food. Could also be dangerous, but that's half the fun of life.
Are you planning to feed them?
Not quite. But
See, my thought was just, take the coin, throw it into the water, see if they're attracted to the light.
I might be able to catch them and cook them at the same time. Very fresh.
Do we want to eat them, though?
I don't know what they are yet, but I could do some fish if it's edible.
I mean,
This
if
is hilarious.
you wish to, then you are more than welcome to, but I'm not sure I'll partake.
You know, if this works, I think they'd technically be steamed fish. Because they're
That's
in
the
water.
healthiest way to eat them, right?
Oh, I don't know. I've never had steamed fish.
Here. Have you got a little bit of rope you can tie to that coin?
Yes. I mean, there's heaps of rope here around us that we could use.
And you can see there's a
Fantastic.
box there too in between you guys.
So I would flick the coin over
In the
the
box.
Lady Verena and say, "Quick, tie a rope to this coin. And bring it up the back when you're ready." And he would run up the back and he would say to Thrash, "Look, I know you're tired, but bear with me for a moment. I think there's some creatures in the water, but we might be able to catch some and have them for dinner."
So how did you find Thrash at the back of the boat from there in the dark?
Yeah.
Give me
Oh,
another.
her
Oh, you
eyes
got
are
the coin.
glowing.
You
I
got
would have
the-
Her
seen.
eyes are glowing.
I would have
If
seen
that
she was
makes any
there.
difference.
Eyes were glowing. I just flicked it. Like it's not too far.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping Lady Verena would come up with the coin. Technically, she can't fit where the boat is, so I might say to Thrasher, "Would you mind stepping aside for a moment?"
And
Actually-
since you've mentioned fish, you see this wide Cheshire cat smile go up on her face, and you're like, "Fish? I haven't had fish in weeks."
I'd say, wait.
Okay.
I don't know
Yep,
if they're actually
have at it.
fish.
Have
I don't-
at it. Step up. No, yep, right here. And she
Oh.
literally grabs him and scoops him aside and puts him there, and is like, "Fish.
Can't guarantee they're fish, but be ready.
I don't care. Fish."
All right, let's give this a go. Lady Verena.
Yes, I don't know whether I'm enthused about this or not, but I guess
No one asked your
here you
opinion.
go.
Oh,
I'm
we're
going
getting
to
fish.
help you with this whole,
We're getting fish.
being
We're getting
sick
fish.
thing.
When have I ever failed you before? Huh?
Sick. I don't know what I'm talking. I don't know what you're talking. I'm not sick at all. I'm not sick. Period.
Darling, you're
Starters.
perspiring like crazy.
That's the
get the
water
net.
from when I jumped in to save you. Thank you very much.
No, you jumped in to
Yeah.
save Jim Jar. I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly dry. You're all
correct.
sorts
Yeah,
of
well-
weird.
Excuse me, Lady Verena. Can you and Thrash put this aside for a moment so we can get some fish? Hopefully.
After
Have you got the net? Thrash, you get the net.
Oh, I like nets. And she'll walk over and she'll go and grab a net. Very excited of the possibility of having fish.
If there aren't any nets above deck, which there probably are, maybe in that box, I don't know, you would know that Patch has one in his backpack.
Alright.
Yeah.
So do we have a net?
Yeah, Thrash won't even bother looking for one upstairs. She'll just sort of look at Drumballis and she'll be like, hold, see this thing? Hold it straight. Touch nothing else. I believe
Okay.
in you. And then she's going to,
I've got this.
literally use her whole 90 feet. You just see her gun it for the bottom of the boat. Like, you haven't seen her run that fast since we were back with the Demogorgon. She's just going to gun it for the bottom of the boat and probably knock Patch's hammock in on the way. And she's just not even gonna care. She's just gonna grab the net and be like, I'm stealing your net, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry, and run straight back upstairs.
Alright.
And then she'd be
get
like,
the net.
I have acquired a net! I have a net, look at it, it's such a nice net. Fish time!
Alright, bring your net over here and let's get ready.
I'll take that off of my inventory so that we know that you have it now.
Good idea. Add it to your
Alright.
inventory, Dranbalas, I suppose, and tell me what the plan is here. What do we?
Oh no,
do?
Thrash is getting the net, and Lady Verena's going to lure whatever these creatures are to the boat with the light, and I'm going to try and hit them with my lightning breath.
All right, so
Okay.
we're fishing with TNT here.
Yeah,
I'm going to put Gadget on holding the rope with the coin on it, because Gadget's stronger than I am. I'm going to stand lookout at the front of the boat, just in case anything comes the opposite direction.
Okay.
you might want to rethink this. Gadget is made of metal after all.
Gadget is fine, darling.
Sure, okay.
Is he really? Anyway,
Well,
fish time!
All right.
I'm
So
hoping I don't miss, but all the best.
you've got the coin in the net. You're casting the net into the water. All right. I tell you what. Roll a d6 for me.
D6, alright. 5.
5. You cast the net into the water, and the net I imagine has like these small lead weights on the back of them. So you cast it into the water, and the weight of these lead weights sort of drags the net down, and you can feel on the end of the rope. So who's holding the rope?
Thrash.
I am.
Thrash. You can feel some movement on the end of the rope. I'll get you. Are you trying to pull it up?
Hell yeah.
Not yet, I've got to fry him first.
No, you never told me the plan, man.
Oh, I
You
just
said
told
it,
everyone.
All right. So roll
I
initiative
wasn't
for me,
listening.
Thrash and Dranbalas.
What am I
Either way,
rolling,
we're
sir?
getting fish.
Initiative to see if Thrash
Okay.
first or if you fry him first. I will point out that if you fry him first, you're probably not pulling him back up with the net.
Yeah.
Well, no, the net's in water. It should be fine.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Electricity, water,
11.
and combustible
I got a
materials
dirty
do.
20.
All right, so Thrash, you're quicker off the bat here. So you cast the net into the water and you start pulling it up. It's sort of halfway up the side of the boat, and you can feel like these fish sort of thrashing, for lack of a better term, against the net. And it's like on the side of the boat. You have an opportunity here to act if you want to, Dranbalas, but the fish are already sort of half dragged out of the water.
Yeah, everything's wet though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So theoretically, I think if the rope net was wet, it would certainly conduct electricity. It wouldn't burn as such. It might singe on the outside. That's my theory. That's what I'm going with. I'm sure this will work. And so, do you want me to do a dragon breathy thing?
Talk to me about your breath ability.
12 dex. So basically shoots lightning out of his mouth.
Yep.
For making
Line,
it simple. Right? Sorry, a line. Yeah. Let's
So
say
enough to direct.
yeah. So I'll just be aiming it straight at the big bundle of fish that are hanging in the net.
Yes. And mechanically, what happens? They need to. It just does a certain amount of damage, right?
Yeah, sure. That's right. So there's a Dex 12. You can use your action to exhale destructive energy. Your draconic ancestry determines the size, shape, and damage type of the exhalation. Lightning in this case, because I'm blue. When you use your breath weapon, each creature in the area of the exhalation must make a saving throw. So the fish do get a chance at a saving throw. The type of which is determined by your ancestry. The DC for this is the saving throw equals 8 plus your con, which is why we're at Dex save of 12. Yep.
Imagine trouble without being restrained by a net.
They're not going to be making a dex save against this.
Yeah.
I will get you to do one thing. I'll just get you to roll a perception check for me.
Oh, okay.
I'd just like to add that on my bingo card is going to be fish dying while Froth sits in front of fish.
All right. So you're just sort of
18.
leaning over the side of the boat. That's good enough. You can see this bundle of fish. You open up your mouth. Tell me what it sort of looks like when you do this, because I think this is the first time, isn't it?
Yeah, so you start to see like a slight glowing pulsating within Drumbalus's scales. Sort of starts around his chest area and then brightens up and intensifies and then pulses. But then it looks like it's kind of jumping from scale to scale as the scales become super bright and almost like glowing and reflecting off the other ones, like a chain reaction coming up. And then it's almost like his whole head glows and then just as he just roars with almost like he's like vomiting up like like he's been on a big bender. And yeah, out it comes and
All right.
smashes the
Couple of things are going to happen. First thing is, you nail this net dead on, and you can hear like this sizzling, crackling sound as these fish just fry. 3d, what is it?
2d6.
2d6. What do we got here? We got, yeah. So you can hear the crackling sound, and you can like hear like this sizzling, and you can smell the smell, the aroma of burnt fish. Thrash, I need you to make a dexterity save.
I knew it.
Oh,
Knew
shit.
it. Because you're
I'm-
holding the wet net,
Does that-
and you're
does
wet
that-
as well.
No,
Do
she had the dry
anything.
part of the rope. She hasn't pulled it up far enough to get wet hands here. Was my fault.
And dex save?
Yeah, just going by the way you described it being all wet and not burning up.
Yeah,
That's
but
alright.
it was in
I'll
the
take
water.
it. Oh, I'm wet. No, yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
already wet too.
Yeah,
That's alright,
Thrash
I'll
is
take it.
also wet.
That's
So
okay.
her hands are wet. She would have like any bit she'd touch would be getting
15?
wet as well.
15. What's the
Yep.
saving throw for that?
Yeah, 12. That's a pass.
That's
Okay,
a
sweet.
that's a pass. So you let go of the rope as this happens. You can either let go of
Can
the
I
rope,
use
or
my-
you can hold on to it and take the damage. Up to you.
I'll take the damage. I'm at full health.
All right, roll
I want
2d6.
fish. I want fish. I want fish.
Froth already did. He rolled 7.
So
Okay,
you
awesome.
take 7 points of lightning damage as the
Yeah.
electricity arcs along the moist net and travels up the net into Thrash's arms. You can see all of the fur suddenly stand up on end, and you can smell the scent, the pungent aroma of burning hair. But you manage to hold
just-
on to the net and actually drag it up into the boat, and you have 5
man.
fried fish.
Drambalus would turn around quickly in shock, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. That looks like it was shocking." But on
Thrash
on a
will
bright note, you're
take
not wet
the net.
anymore.
She'll take the net and she'll look at Jumbalast and be like, "That was fucking awesome!" And she'll like put her hand out for a fist bump.
For fish.
You'll bump it back. Be like, "Fish, fish, fish, fish!" And then she'll like go over and she'll like open the bag and take the biggest looking one, and she'll go back to the tiller and just start absolutely cracking into this fish. Like you can tell it's been so long since you've last had one.
And now not only do we have the smell of wet cat, we've got the smell of wet singed cat.
Yeah.
And burnt fish.
Yeah.
And dog fur.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I cleared that out with my flame cantrip. Nom, Underdark fish.
That's perfect.
Did anyone get that?
Look at him.
Yeah.
No, got it. Yeah.
That's why I said nom, Underdark
Like
fish. 'cause it popped up on my
tilapia.
screen.
Like
So-
little tilapia.
Imagine that. Oh, I'm not getting it on my player screen here. Why am I not seeing it on my player screen? I can see it on my DM screen. I can't see it on the players one. What's happening?
Refresh your players one. Sometimes it gets a bit like
All
that.
right, I'll refresh
Mm,
that.
but-
Hang tight, because I want the people at home to be able to see this awesome artwork as well. But that's basically what you see. Imagine that, but a bit more charred. You've got 5
But wait,
of those.
there's a problem. There's 5 fish and 7 of us.
Yep, so the dog gets nothing. He's already eaten. Verena gets nothing because she's less than a dog. And I imagine the fish guy won't want to eat fish.
I'm assuming
Hey.
Gadget doesn't eat. Or does she?
Yeah. Look, I imagine the fish guy won't want to eat fish. So I say we don't offer that to him. But yeah, no, Verena doesn't get any fish. Because
Here, Verena, you have my fish.
No, don't give her your fish. I'll eat it.
I've given her my fish.
Fuck.
Let's
Verena's
be
gonna
fair,
just
what?
like gently rip off the head bit and the tail bit, and is going to give that back to you, so you can have that to eat, Drambulas. And
Thank
she'll
you.
have the body.
Tasty.
Well, if it
And I'd
makes you
say-
feel any better, Drambulas, those are the best 2
and
Oh.
frozen.
parts of the fish. So really, she was
There we
go.
the head and the tail. And
Just
the
quickly,
2 best parts.
we did find that coin and put it back away, didn't we?
Who's controlling the boat?
Trash.
Alright, I'm going to roll a luck save here to see what happened while you guys were doing that.
I'm on lookout as well at the front of the boat. So if we're running into anything, I would announce it.
You
Can
can
we
see you're
remember-
approaching a stalagmite that's jutting straight out of the central of the lake here. You're heading straight towards it.
Hey Sven,
Yes.
how long has it actually been since our last long rest?
It's been... You know what? It's kind of hard to tell at this point, and it's hard for you guys to tell at this point as well, but it's been at least...
Well, I would. Has it been more than 24 hours?
I can't remember.
Because if it hasn't, then I still have some good berries left from before we took our last long rest.
I don't think it has. I
Okay.
think you guys forced March, which is the reason why you're still...
Yeah, and so I am asleep, but I have those good berries that could be eaten in place of fish, for those that don't want to eat fish.
Metagaming.
Right, but I hand them out every time we rest. So Thrash would know that they are there. She would possibly have a couple, and the rest would be in my pouch.
I'll tell you what, you probably would have eaten some. You probably
Yeah.
would have given some to Jim Jar. You guys have eaten. I'm pretty sure you did already give some to Bark. Now, everyone's had a good meal for all intents and purposes.
I did want to clarify something about Goodberry. It says it provides sustenance. Now, does that count hydration, or is it just food?
I'm counting that as just food.
Yeah, cool.
Yep, that's my ruling on that one. So you
sweet.
do have to keep in mind that you will need to find
You'll
some
need water.
fresh water at some point. But
I
moving
can
on
make it.
to the situation at hand, you're heading towards the stalagmite. What happens?
Yes. Verena's going to look at it and go, darling, and Thrash, there's something ahead of us. It's, we're gaining on it. Can we, turn a little bit?
Hard
So
port.
what is it? Do you want to be more specific, or is it just something? I mean, you're not very good at giving directions, are you?
Massive rock coming up from the ground. I'd like
There
to
we
avoid
go.
it.
What's your
There
dark
we
vision
go.
distance?
60 feet.
60 feet. So you're within 60 feet of this now. 50
Yep.
feet. What do you do?
Okay,
Turn.
I'm gonna do a dex. Actually, can I argue for athletics? Because usually when you're turning a boat, it's very heavy. And I believe athletics is partially strength
Nothing.
and dex.
I will allow you to use your athletics, but I will not allow you to add your proficiency bonus to it. So it's going to be athletics
Okay.
-2 for all intents and purposes.
Yep, that sounds fair. That's deception. I just rolled deception. Ignore that.
You have
Yeah,
deceived
that's,
the stalagmite.
Just take the
What?
roll of,
Not 20.
rather
the
than re-roll.
stalagmites talks.
No.
It's like,
Okay,
hey, is that a boat
Guys.
coming right towards me? Oh no, that's not a boat. Can't be.
Convince the
No,
Grace,
no.
convince
Grace.
the rock the boat.
Yeah.
Rather than re-rolling, you've got a 16 on the
Just take it
dice there.
minus
Just
2.
add your strength to
Yeah.
it. Just add strength to 16.
Well, no. Well, it's the same modifier anyway, so it's just
Okay.
16.
Yeah, sweet.
So it's just 20. So it's a 19, if that
Yeah.
makes it any.
All right, so 19 is enough. You pull hard on the tiller and the boat lists to one side. Not dramatically enough to throw anyone overboard or anything like that, but it was a pretty close call. You get within 30, 20 feet away from this thing, and you pull hard on the tiller. And Verena, when you get close enough to it, you can see that the stalagmites are actually, there's more, just sort of dotted just beneath the surface of the water. So what I'm actually going to need now is, you're in this situation, there's sort of stalagmites just beneath the water. Roll. Let's start off. Let's do a skill chain here. Now that you've gotten yourself into this situation, Verena, give me a perception check.
Yep.
This is going to be interesting. Patch might wake up submerged in water.
Oh god. Can I use my inspiration on that?
Yeah, sure, dude.
Thank
Go
you.
for it.
Thanks.
Oh man, every time we use inspiration. All right, so from now on, I think we've got to start using inspiration the way it's meant to be and call it before we roll. Because every time we try and call it afterwards, this happens.
All right. So, yeah, that didn't work. Mark, could I actually get you to centralize yourself a little bit with the camera?
Sure.
You're just off to one side. But yeah, that's not enough. You miss. You see one of these stalagmites just beneath the surface of the water, but you don't see another one. Essentially, it's a Batavia situation here. You miss one, and you can hear Thrash, Dranbalas, and Verena like this that travels up the length of the boat, and the boat's going to take 10 points of damage as it grinds along the stalagmite that was just hidden below the surface of the water. And I'm going to roll something here to see if it's enough to pierce through. No, you're fine. So I will get a dexterity saving throw from those people who are on the top deck here.
Oh my god, if any of you fall over, I swear to god. Oh, I think I'm about to fall over. Okay. Can I use my inspiration to not fall over the boat?
I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what?
re-roll.
That's kind of important. I can get back on very easily. Anytime I want to. Yeah, no, I'll take that. I'm going in the water. I'll take it. I can use that anytime. I can get back in anytime I want to. I have a +5. I'll be fine. And claws
Gadget-
and climbing speed.
Gadget got 17, I got 19.
17 and a 19. That's plenty. But the boat suddenly lifts to one side as it hits the stalagmites that you didn't see, and the sudden jerk sort of lifts the boat to the other side as it lifts up on top of the stalagmite. And Thrash, it hits on the left-hand side, so you actually fall towards the right. I'm actually just going to give you a d6 of bludgeoning damage as you fall towards the right and just hit your head hard on the side of the boat there.
Could we try to like grab her as she's falling off or anything like that?
I'll allow you to grab her, but then you're going to fall instead, and you're going to take the damage.
Well, I think
Nah, let me take
instinctively,
Let me take it. Just, it's fine.
It's not like you're
I'll
flying
take
through the air and you're going, "Oh no, I'll take it."
Well, the way that I picture this situation is you sort of you made your dexterity saving throw, so you've thrown your hands out and steadied yourself, whereas she hasn't had anything to grab hold of. She's fallen off towards the side and hit her head. So I would allow you to reach out and grab her, but because you're not steadying yourself anymore, you're going to fall over. So...
Well, I think I've already played my card now, haven't I? So that's okay. You're in the water.
Only 3 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, only 3?
Only 3 points of bludgeoning damage, but we haven't even been in combat yet. How much damage have you already taken just from this fishing excursion?
I took half damage from the so I should be on that. Took half damage from the lightning thing.
Okay.
which ate into my temp HP. So I'm still at 45.
So just for
So I'm still
clarity's
looking
purpose,
pretty good.
sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but just for clarity's purpose,
No,
why did you
it's-
take half damage?
Yeah, I was
Because
gonna
I
say.
Thinking that
succeeded.
too.
Yeah, but I think that I was gonna say I hate to be that guy. I really don't. I do it all the time.
You told me
But
to take
Sven,
half damage.
yeah, no, yeah, but I was wrong because Sven did say the
Oh.
dex save was going to allow you to let go of the net, but you chose to
Oh,
hold
that's
on to it
right.
and
No.
not leave anything.
Okay.
If her HP says 45 right now, then she's taken the full damage. Because it was 7 full, and she had 8 temporary. And
Yep.
she's just
Yep.
taken 3 damage, so she'd be on 45.
All right.
All right, there we go. That happens, but you're able to right yourself up again and grab hold of the tiller. So moving forward now, you continue on. You see those stalagmites sort of get lower and lower beneath the surface of the water, and you don't see anything anymore, Verena. But you're traveling on. Thrash, you're sort of controlling the boat. Dranbalas, you're up there. Do you still have your coin?
No, I handed it back to Verena and she put it in a
If it was
bucket.
in the net, then you have it back. If not, then I can make you a new one.
No,
I
'cause I
can make 5 of these.
remember saying that I gave it back to you and
You
said
gave
put
it
it away.
back,
Oh, I'm gonna put it in. Yeah.
But we used it in the net, so
Right. Okay. So it would be in the net next to me then, I assume, on the ground.
Okay. Well, I'll allow you to just to pick it up and
Thrash
decide what
has
you want
the
to
net.
do with it. You can either just put the coin in your pocket, in which case it's not going to shed any light, or you can have the coin out and you can have that light. Up to you.
Is Thrash still in the water?
No, Thrash is not
no,
in the
Thrash
water.
is
She
on
just
deck.
fell over. She just
Okay.
bumped her head.
I'll pick up the
Um,
coin and stick it in my pocket then.
All right. So you've
I
got
have
the
the
coin
net
now.
for the record,
Okay.
by the way, so I would have had the coin.
Yeah, but
That-
let's just
that's
moving on. You give the coin back to Dranbalas. He has the coin. He slips it into his pocket. You still have the coin, so you have that active light source should you need it. And Verena, you're up the front of the boat, keeping watch. And a few hours pass.
so are we at 4 hours past now or 8 hours past?
We haven't done 4 hours just yet. But
You only need 6 of sleep, right? Out of a long rest period.
is that right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Oh,
8 hour
Because
long
you usually
rest, you
do
need 6 hours
6
sleep.
with 2 hours
Yeah, of
watch.
time.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much: 4 hours pass. Nothing happens.
All right, so in 2 more hours, technically, I can wake up and take a watch and be good to go.
That's right. 2 more hours pass. Nothing happens. But then, around about the 6 hour mark, Verena, what's your dark vision situation, Thrash?
60 feet.
60 feet. All right. So Verena, you see this first. You can see the cavern ahead of you starts to narrow. You can see the walls sort of coming in towards you, and you can see maybe some light coming from within over there somewhere. It's kind of hard to see. It's like this aqua bluish sort of light. What do you want to do?
Definitely not daylight.
Roll a perception check for me.
In the Underdark, sure. Am I applying my long rest at this 6 hour mark, Sven?
Yes, you can give yourself the long rest.
Question.
I'm rolling trash.
Does a long rest reset temp HP if it doesn't say so in the ability?
A long rest should reset 50% of your temp HP.
My temp, yeah, because the ability doesn't define if that the HP goes away. It's just that I can redo it every turn that I have that ability active, and then they've got that HP. Then is how it reads.
All right, I'm just gonna go by how it reads for the time being, if it doesn't necessarily state a particular point at which it stops working.
D&D Beyond did reset it when I took the long rest. So
Okay.
there might be something in the rules somewhere. So let's just go with that. Mine is reset.
Yep.
Yeah.
I dig it. I like that better anyway.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, moving forward, your perception check is an 8. It doesn't look like daylight. Patch, you're starting to stir. Do you do anything, Verena? Do you tell anyone, or?
I'll turn to Dranbalaus and say, look, you might be able to see in the future, in the near distant future. That should be useful.
Sorry, I just got Flight of the Conchord song in my head.
Oh no.
I can't see it, but I would.
Even you can see it now.
Oh, even I can. Okay, then in which case I would.
I'm sorry, but I'm hippopotamus. My lyrics are bottomless.
In the future, not too distant future. I'd like to maybe put my hand up and just kind of try and close my eyes and concentrate and sense. Do I know whether this is like a good or a bad light? I'm going to be casting detect evil and good.
Okay. No, you can hear it yelling insults at you from 100 feet away. It's like, hey, Dragonborn, how's that dark vision going for you, Dragonborn? It's definitely a bad light. It's a real jerk.
You
John
can't even
Balassi.
wrap in binary. Jeez.
0011.
I will tell you this: it's still like 60 feet ahead of you or something like that. You're not quite that close just yet, but we can move ahead a little bit, and you cast your detect evil and good.
Will last up to 10 minutes. So
Can I be like awake enough to start like moving around yet?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
so I'll
go to that stitch.
I'm gonna leave Bark sleeping for now because I figure with his being so tired, he could do with a little bit of extra rest. I'm just gonna mosey on upstairs. Oh, once I get off my ruler.
Roll. No, you keep going. Yeah, you go upstairs. Yeah, you guys see.
Stretching.
Yeah, you guys see him coming up above deck. What do you want to do?
I look around. Hey guys, I feel better.
It's about time.
Hey, look, I didn't kill her. Are you proud? See, she's not dead.
I'm
Perfectly
very proud
living.
of both
Yep,
of you.
see?
Thank you.
Yep.
But where are we? What's going on?
I don't know. There is some sort of cosmic blue light heading towards us. And I am beginning to think that maybe she really did kill me in my sleep. And
You
is just
see
me
this
dying.
immediately, Patch, when you get above deck, and now you are within 30 feet. And I'm going to rule
300 feet of dark vision.
Dranvalas, you are actually getting a very, very faint aura from this. Now that you're getting closer, you can see that the ceiling and the walls of the cavern, as it's converging, the water is sort of picking up speed a little bit, and you're getting closer and closer to this. You can see the walls and the ceiling are covered in what appears to be like these small dots of bioluminescent fungus. And you're getting a bit of an aura. Something that is if an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead. You're getting a hint of almost like fey from this.
Can I tell whether it's good or bad?
For the duration, you know if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead, as well as the creature is located. Similarly, know if there is a place or object within 30 feet that has been magically consecrated or desecrated. So it doesn't necessarily tell you whether it's good or bad. Yes.
Something's up with my screen there. It looks like you've got, it's moved out of whack somewhere. I don't
Yeah,
know if you're
I
doing
didn't do
anything.
anything there. I don't know what's going on. I thought you did that.
Oh, I don't think so. Let me go and open up OBS and have a closer look.
Yeah, I think it's got something to do with your OBS. I wouldn't even know how to do that if I wanted to.
I've just got to say, for feedback's sake, when they're bringing out the new Dungeons and Dragons,
Yep.
don't give spells detect evil and good. Don't give them names like that if it doesn't actually do that. Gets me every time. Am I the only one here, or?
Look,
No.
that's fair.
I'll give you this much. You get this innate sense that what you're looking at is not malicious. In fact, you guys can all see this now. It's one of the most beautiful sights that you've ever seen. Because in the absolute darkness of the Underdark, along with there's no wind down here at all, so there's nothing to disturb this mirror-like sheen, which is perfectly reflecting all these dots of light from these bioluminescent mushrooms. Tell you what, let's. I don't know how you're doing that. I don't know what you've done.
My OBS has gone screwy. I'm just gonna close that. My Discord stream will stay in, so it won't mess with your setup.
All right. Let me just make sure everything is the way that it should be.
We can hold for a few minutes and take a quick break if that
Go.
works for recording purposes.
Do you guys want to have a quick break right here? I'll just edit it out.
This might not take long. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just restarting Logic Capture.
Right, tell you what. Just take a quick break, guys, and I will edit it out. So just pause for edit.
Yep.
Go for a break.
Look,
Cool.
I have just fixed the issue, so we'll be good to go. as soon as
Alright, we'll be right back.
back.
And we're on.
Alright.
So, what you guys can see, as I was describing before, is basically you can see these bioluminescent mushrooms are covering the ceiling and the walls of this cavern that is, 135 foot wide, thereabouts. And because there's no wind or any disturbance in the water, it's basically just like a mirror for this bioluminescent mushrooms that are covering the ceiling. Drunbalas, you cast your spell and you get sort of like... It's not like a creature, because generally speaking that's what you detect. It's like a haze of... that you sense. Like all of these things are sort of one entity. Does that make sense? You don't get any sense that this is malicious or anything along those lines, but it's breathtaking. And for Thrash and Patch, this is the first time you've seen something here in the Underdark. I would imagine that it is actually, beautiful, nice to look at. So it sort of takes your breath away when you see it. I can't remember which movie it was, but there's like this scene, I think it's Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the later ones, where you can just see the boat and you can see the reflection of the starlight on the water. It's basically exactly the same as that starlight on the water. What do you want to do?
I think Drunbalas would, whilst holding his hand out and concentrating on whatever the light may be, he would turn around and look at the rest of the party and say, I don't think it's malevolent. It feels almost fey-like, but I'm not sure what it is.
On that, you know how you were talking about a haze?
Yeah.
Would it be similar to the one that, because Pat, Thrash, and Jim Jar are the only two members of the original party,
Yeah.
is it similar to the one Stool admitted?
No. When I say a haze, I mean like the aura that Dranbalis is sort of picking
I
up,
see.
as opposed to like one particular thing. It's sort of like the ceiling of this cavern is sort of like a haze of an aura that he's sort of picking up, so to speak.
Let's have a look. I think she's
Not
about
very.
22.
Okay, I was gonna say we could have this whole like enemies to lovers moment.
Oh yeah, that would actually be such a vibe.
All right, would
Let
be
me
a
Just
look.
had to double check the
Um,
age on that.
Yeah.
Let me just triple check.
We're back on.
I forgot how old my actual character. 25.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Unpause for editing.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, that's so. What is the? I'm the editor. I need to know what this is. What? Because I'm never looking when you do that. Are you actually making a hand gesture, or do I just have to listen for it?
Well, you know the pause symbol, how it's two
Yeah.
vertical lines?
Oh, yeah.
So you've got a visual cue and you have an
Yeah.
audio cue
Excellent. Thank
to
you.
cut and chop and unpause for editing.
Yeah.
All right. So we had a little bit of a technical difficulty there, but we're back again.
Always.
Yeah. Dranbalis, you see what you see. Patch, you've noticed that this constellation is in an area that is not mapped or is not included in your star map. And the rest of you see Patch running around like a child on Christmas Day. What do you want to do?
Very excited. Like this is his jam. You know, like.
I've seen this before in my studies,
Oh.
whilst I was cloistered away in my temple learning.
And you see Patch's eyes just like light up, and he's sort of like, I'm just trying to figure, do I have a notebook, or is it all just on the map itself and it's magical? Yeah, okay, I've got a case, like a map scroll case, and you see me sort of like reach into my bag, pull this thing out, and like I'll tuck the star map into my belt and just pull out the scroll of parchment and just like be eager to take notes about whatever you've got to say about this thing. Is it?
Yeah. Well, I know it's magical and I know it's something fairly powerful. It did come up during my studies, my clerical and arcane studies. It was a legend of a type. I'm not sure of its actual existence or not, but I believe I would take it as a sign. I think we must note it down and pursue it. It's of most importance.
Okay, important. Scroll that up, put it back in the case, and
Can I look at the picture of the necklace in the sky and see if it's anything like the one I had?
Sure.
Yeah.
And he'll pull out the star map again and unroll it, and you can see it's not connected to the rest of the map. It's got like, did you say it was in the middle-ish, Sven?
There's like imagine there's a couple of points in the star map where there's sort of like a blank sort of space, and it was in like a blank sort of space.
Yeah, so I've filled it in there, but I haven't connected the dots so that you're able to tell that that's this thing, because I'm not sure what the connection is yet. So I'll point to that space and I'll show you that.
Does it look at all similar?
No, it doesn't look similar.
Okay, sweet, awesome. She's lost interest.
Nothing. Okay.
She heard necklace, her attention peaked, and then looked at it and she was like, it's fucking not my necklace.
Hilarious.
Yeah, get back to your nerdy shit. All good. Never mind.
That's nice. Alright, so
Although we cannot be sure.
No, I can be pretty fucking sure. I have one on my neck for 25 years.
No.
Is this meant to be a good or bad thing?
Perhaps the
'Cause I don't really
diagram
want to
is
be
metaphorical.
chasing it.
Well, Drambala said powerful and important, and I don't know, like.
So like me.
More so
That's
even.
a funny joke.
Sure.
That is a very funny
Sure,
joke that you just
okay.
made.
So anyway, moving right along. Do you think we should check this out? Like, I could navigate us there by this and with this.
Yes, indeed. Is it on the? Is our next destination on the way to where that appearance could be?
Well, we
I believe we were heading to Neverlight Grove. Do you now have
we have no
sufficient
idea
information?
where we are. Is kind of why I think maybe we follow this instead.
You can navigate, can you not?
Well, with this, I certainly can.
Yes, but I'm assuming you've been to Neverlight Grove before.
No, I've never. This
Oh.
is the first time in the Underdark.
I thought the
But
way you were
that's why-
speaking about it, you'd been there.
No, this was just the plan that we had. Pluplepleen was supposed to be able to give us directions, but I think he's still resting.
Speaking
How
of
long
which,
has he been
perhaps we
asleep?
should wake him.
Well,
Yeah, how long
maybe.
has he been asleep?
Same amount of time as you guys.
Yeah.
So it's been a
Okay.
good 6 hours now.
He had mental issues beyond just.
Yeah, I think I might go and wake him up. Thrash is just gonna start walking over the stairs, and she's like, right, well, I mean, I think it's time to get him up. None of us really know where we are, and I'm not chasing my tail over a necklace we don't really know anything about. So,
Look.
Pluplepleen?
Mhm.
As you guys are
Is it-
talking, you can see ahead of you the cavern begins to open up again into darkness.
And you'll see in Patch for the first time just a slight of hint of annoyance. And he'll sort of tense for a minute, and then just sort of like calm himself and just be like, "I really think we should check this out."
Is there like an anchor or anything that we could toss overboard? Maybe a person.
Are you
I'm sure that would
volunteering?
work.
Maybe
I
a
agree.
giant metal cat. Maybe a giant metal cat, perhaps? Seems like you can just keep making them, so...
I think.
I'm assuming the boat already has an anchor.
Well, yes.
Most do, you know. Although we did set off fairly hastily. Can anybody see one around?
Take a
I'll
look
go
around
now.
for an anchor.
Let's have a look.
I'm not even going to bother
Sure.
rolling because I can't see anything in
You
it.
do see what seems to be like a grappling hook, like hastily tied onto a fish gut cord.
Okay. What would be heavier by looking at it? Would Cleaver be heavier than the grappling hook?
Oh, it's not about weight, it's about design.
Yeah, but Cleaver's about the same design. What I'm thinking is I chuck the giant axe in. It's pretty fucking heavy.
Cleaver's shaped all wrong. Let's try the grappling hook.
I'll trust you. You're a bit more knowledgeable than me.
I have studied the arcane and clerical arts, of course.
I would. How long does the fish gut rope seem?
60 feet.
I would consider replacing the rope with something a little more sturdy. I think I have something in my pack. Let me check.
30 feet away.
About that.
I have no more. Oh, I know. Patch grabbed the net, but I think I had. No, I've already used my rope. Does anyone have rope?
I do.
Should we maybe use your rope instead of this fish gut stuff?
Yep.
Might
Sounds
be a
good. I
bit-
got 50 feet of hempen rope.
Or like use both just to be sure when
25
we
feet.
together.
We should probably.
We just
Tuck
throw
it in.
something overboard.
Yeah. Sounds good. I'm just gonna get my
Okay.
axe. I'm gonna tie the hempen rope to the axe, and I'm just gonna chuck it in the water. Actually, you know what? I need that axe. It's kind of like a main stake of my fighting. I'm just going to detach the clawy grappling hook thingy. Tie
I
it to my
don't think
hempen
we
rope
have
and
enough
throw
time
it.
for that.
20 feet.
We don't have enough time.
Just all right. Throw it. Just throw the hook. Roll
Just
the
throw it.
hook.
Throw the
I'm
hook.
grabbing it and
Okay,
I'm just
I'll
gonna
throw
eat
it.
it.
You throw
I'm
it
not
overboard.
good with
I'm
this.
assuming that you've obviously tied it off to something, so I'm not
Yes.
gonna just blink into the water and it's gone. No, you throw it down and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait. 15
Drone
feet,
Balas is just gonna sit there like,
10
why
feet.
did you use the axe?
It's just not smart.
Boat's not stopping. 5 feet. You're entering the exit of this cavern now.
Quick,
Boat's
tie the
stopping.
fish gut to the rope and extend it.
how fast the boat's moving? Roughly.
Roughly a mile per hour or something like that.
Okay. So if someone were to jump overboard, could we catch up to the boat?
Unless you have a swim speed.
Okay.
A mile per hour is pretty
I
slow.
will. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it says in the rule book, but you do have oars. It's not pictured in this picture here, but that's not to say that you couldn't use the oars to turn the boat around if you wanted to do so. But
Why
it
are we
appears from the way that the boat has not stopped this body of water, because the walls have narrowed in, it's probably very, very deep.
Did you say this was getting wider as it goes out again?
Yes, it's widening now out.
So do we even want to stop? Like, is this the direction that we would want to go to be able to pursue where this thing is?
Well, I thought we were only stopping so that you could observe the...
Well, no one bothered to listen to what Patch actually wanted to do.
Yeah, I did.
Which was
Yeah, we wanted to go. We're going.
Which was follow. You were all about waking up Blooper so we can help us get to Neverlight Grove. Patch is like, fuck Neverlight Grove. Let's go here. I can get it here.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
I agreed with you after Patch looked frustrated.
In which case, do we need to stop, or is this the right direction to go to head to where it seems to be indicating that?
I don't think the party is aware at the moment that that's a clear intention. But if you make it known, then we might be able to pull this axe back up.
Yeah, I'm just like, what's with the anchors, guys? And this is why I'm asking Sven, is that the right direction?
As far as you know, you're heading in the right direction, because you're essentially just heading away from Slubladop. That's the best you can tell.
Yeah.
But is he heading towards the direction of the constellation that he just picked up? Or didn't have but noticed in the mushroom stars?
Because I can navigate via the stars. So, if I wanted to go to the location that constellation would be leading me to, are we heading in the right direction for that? I'll give you a survival check if you need.
You don't know your particular orientation in regards to what you saw above you. Your star map was created like on the surface.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? If your orientation changes, or you're looking at it from a different perspective, you're just not sure what your perspective is looking on this. Does that make sense?
But they aligned themselves, didn't they?
I get what you're trying to say, but yeah, you were describing them as that they were aligning to my map, so I would be familiar with that whole perspective thing. So through that, I should be able to figure out where we are in relation to all of the other ones, because they match my map, and I know where I would be in relation to those as I look at them above ground. So if I'm in that same position below ground, that would give me a rough idea, to be able to then find my way towards the one that we're trying to get to.
I think regardless, that's as good as we're going to get at the moment anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we can either go backwards or forwards.
Yeah.
So that or we wake up Pooplatine.
The thing is, like what I mean is, you don't know the difference between north, south, east, or west. Yeah? Even if you have a star map, you need to know what's north in order to know which direction you need to go in.
But
if he looks up and the stars are aligned, wouldn't he be able to pick up north, west, east, or south from?
And I have to.
Okay.
I mean, I have to suggest that Patch would be a very experienced astrologist. I don't know how to pronounce it. Astrologist. And as someone who practices witchcraft and is pretty familiar with astrology, I can tell you that, Orion, his arrow always points north, and that's a pretty mainstay, constellation in the sky. So we have to suggest Orion's going to be there, and that would point north.
Argument well made. Make a survival check.
All right.
Who? Everyone? Or Mark?
Just patch, 24.
I'll just allow Patch to make that survival check.
Cool. Nailed it.
Yep, I got a +6, so.
Ooh, let me have a think about this for a second.
I don't need to necessarily know the specific direction. I just need enough to know that this is roughly the right way to go. So Patch would be like, pull up the anchors, let's go.
Yeah, if you're orientating yourself by these constellations and you want to head towards where that constellation would be, your best guess is that you are heading in the correct direction.
Oh, yep. So in that case, Patch is just like, pull up the anchors, guys. It's this way. We got to go this way, and the cave opens up here, so we'll be able to go. Let's go. And Patch is talking faster than you normally hear him talk as well. Like he's normally talks really slowly like this. Even if I get excited and forget to do it, but now he's actually talking like this. He's like, come on, guys, let's go. Let's go. Come on.
I'm with Patch. Great work.
Okay, so
I'll
the
pull up the anchor.
cavern
Then.
starts to open up. You pull the anchor back up and you continue on with your journey. Now we get into the third segment here. What
Is
does
Thrash gonna rest at all ever?
Yeah, what do you guys want to do?
Hey,
Is Thrash what?
Do you want to take some rest now? Like, I'm up. I'm fine. You probably need some.
But that would require sleeping, and sleeping leads to nightmares. Oh, sure, why not? Everyone's up, it's fine. I'll go sleep.
Okay.
But if anything happens, wake me up.
Oh, yep, of course.
I'll take a rest too.
I was going to say,
Alright.
are all three of us going to take a nap, seeing as we all
if
just
you-
stayed up for 6 hours?
If you feel
Sure.
like you need one, sure, I can stay on watch now that I'm up.
And
Let's wake up Ginger.
Yeah, he
And
should be fresh too.
Pooplepine.
Well, just see if
Pooplepine can
Boy.
rest.
See if
He's had a
got
tough time.
enough- Yeah, he might need a little bit more time, I feel.
Right, well, he's either sleeping on the floor, or someone's giving their bed to me.
I'll take the floor.
Thank you, darling.
I don't feel the hardness as much with these scales.
I can take the floor if it's any I am fluffy, so it's kind of,
Well,
it's not
there's
really.
3 hammocks down there. If Jim Jar vacates one, that leaves 2. So only one of you needs to sleep on the floor. I'm sure
I'll sleep on the
Bark
floor.
I'm sure Bark is happy to share.
Oh, well, I'll sleep with Buck. Please,
Okay.
no, I'm gonna sleep with Buck then.
Alright, so who's heading down below deck?
Me.
So Dranbalas, Verena, and Thrash are heading below deck. Who's leading the charge?
I guess
I think
we'll
Thrash
have...
would be. Or to sleep or up top deck.
Down below.
Sleep.
You're heading down below. Who's in front?
I reckon Thrash would be. Yeah, she'd be
Yeah.
like dragging a knuckle.
Thrash,
Sorry.
as you head down this narrow flight of stairs, you get down to the bottom, and you can still hear the loud duet of snoring coming from Bark and Jimjar. But opposite them in the hammock, no longer lying down, now sitting up, you see Pooplepine. And as you get down there, he turns towards you and looks at you. And we'll see you next week.
No!
Oh, come
Oh.
Don't do that to us.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for
Good night, guys.
thanks for joining us for
Night.
another pre-recorded episode of Out of the Abyss. Like I
Hopefully our
said,
first successful one.
our first one.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I had a couple of problems, but I'll do some editing magic and string it all
That's right.
together and,
Yeah.
and make it
Well,
work. So there might be a
As they
couple of
say in the
hiccups.
biz, we'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post.
Yes.
Exactly. Thank you, Mark.
Tune in next week
Yeah, make sure
for
you
more Out of the Abyss madness.
yeah, make sure you join us again next week for Out of the Abyss. I'm trying to think of when this episode comes out. So this episode will be coming out
29th.
The 29th, which is the day
Yeah.
after Tales from the
Tales
Rogues
from the
Light
Rogues
Tavern.
Light.
So Hopefully, whoever's watching this has also seen Tales from the Roguelite Tavern, and if you have, thank you very much. And if you haven't, make sure you jump back on our Twitch channel and check it out because it's fun. And when this releases, 1 week from then, I will be at Supernova, so 11 a.m. in the morning. We're going to be doing a couple of live streams with Christian from Hermes D&D services. We're going to be walking around. We're going to be talking to some people. That's if everything goes to plan.
Very nice.
There could be problems, but who knows. But other than that, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you all again next week for more Out of the Abyss. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Good night, everybody.